This is One-on-One with Jasper Cole, Hollywood's bad guy, and so much more. Actor, talent manager, producer, and more. Now he's sitting down with today's top newsmakers from entertainment, politics, pop culture, and beyond. This is One-on-One with Jasper Cole.
Woohoo! All right. Howdy, everyone, and welcome to One-on-One with Jasper Cole. This is your host, Mr. Jasper Cole, and we are coming to you from Sunset Gower Studios right here in Hollywood, California on this rainy, thunderous Storm Watch 2016 in California. I want to give a shout out to my two producers, Mr. J.W. Williams. Hey, John.
Hey. Happy New Year, Jasper.
And Mr. Dominic Friesen.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how are you? So you guys are surviving the rain?
Somewhat.
It's so embarrassing, right? The way everyone in L.A. acts like it's a tornado and a hurricane or something.
It could be in some parts, but not in Hollywood.
Well, and then we also had an earthquake this morning too, which was
I know, right?
Yeah.
Out in near Palm Springs, in Banning, I guess. So, well, if you're out driving today in L.A., just kiss your ass goodbye and good luck, and hope you've got good car insurance. Because you know how people are here, they can't drive.
Yeah.
Anyway, so everyone, listen, please go to our Twitter and follow us. It's One-on-One J. Cole. Facebook is One-on-One with Jasper Cole. And you can also go to my website, jaspercole.com. And when you get to the website, go to our ubnradiotv.com page and come to our show page because we have 25 sponsors that we're thrilled to have. And our newest one is eFile.com, and we have 24 other ones for you to peruse.
All of us here at One-on-One with Jasper Cole are proud to announce our 24 affiliate advertisers, and they are all .coms. Interserver, ZipRecruiter, Hilton Hotels, 3-Day Blinds, Adam and Eve Toys, Bullguard, Prime Slots, Russell Stover, Booking.com, Suzanne Summers Bath and Beauty, Quest Nutrition, Sur La Table, and Extended Stay America.
Additionally, we have EUK Host, Canvas World, Cheap Air, 21st Century, Liberty Mutual, Course Smart, Advanced Auto, Fandango, Meet Mindful, Flair Play, and Jewelry.com. Thanks again to all of our wonderful sponsors.
Oh, absolutely. So once again, go there, find something you like, click on the icon for that product or that company, and we'll all get credit for it. So anyway, guys, welcome back. I hope you guys had a great holiday and New Year and all that stuff.
I did.
How did you spend your New Year's?
I was in Palm Springs, and I just didn't do a lot of anything. How about you?
Old married couple now.
I had a very long night and 2 days of recovery, but it was nice.
Lord, we need the details.
No, you don't.
Right. Well, we'll save that for off air.
So we have a lot of things to talk about. There's so much going on in the world. First of all, whatever the hell is going on up in Oregon right now.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. They've taken over the federal building. What I understand was, I guess it was an abandoned building. I mean,
it's a federal building, and they're armed, and they've taken it over, which is domestic terrorism, in my opinion. But
right. But yet they're just allowed to sort of wait it out in there, and I don't know what they're hoping to accomplish.
And they're begging for snacks. Begging for snacks and socks.
I think they want to kind of avoid another Waco, or something similar.
Well, you know that the Bundy family from a few years back, well, I think it was in Utah or was it in Texas? I'm sorry. The two guys, the father and son, who kind of did the same thing over some land, they're distancing themselves, saying they have nothing to do with this one, although they're both about to be sentenced to 5 years federal prison coming up. So they were charged and prosecuted for their when they did the similar thing. Remember, that's when they blocked the land. They didn't want to pay taxes on the land, and so they kind of had a demonstration and protest out against the government. But I don't know. These guys are so funny. They want stuff shipped in, but what's it going to come? UPS. I mean, how are they going to get stuff?
They're going to drop it by the air.
Well, they posted the address, and it's just a basic
mail drop.
You send it to like the postmaster, and he just knows where to take it. But it's interesting. There was a open letter that was posted late last night. It was by the bird watchers, the bird watcher photographers. And it's actually a really interesting read. They've been tracking this whole family and this whole group for weeks. And they said that they've been tracking everyone who's been taking them supplies and who's been helping them out. And that they're basically setting up a boycott against all these peripheral businesses that are assisting them.
That are supporting them.
And in addition, they're the ones that have been feeding all of the evidence to the authorities to have them charged. Over the years, for all of their crimes, they've come forward and said that it's nobody would ever think of these bird watchers that are out there, taking photos. They're basically nature photographers, but it's a really interesting.
Yeah, everyone thinks of bird watchers as like very earthy and granola crunching and sort of, but very, very bohemian or Oregon type lifestyles. But I don't know. It just goes to show you there's a bunch of people in this country who really believe that the government's going to take over. That they're out to, they want to be armed militia.
Well, and then a tweet went out late last night too that they were basically likening what they're doing to what Rosa Parks did, which was very interesting. I don't know if you saw Rosa Parks was trending. That's why.
Well, I did, and I'm thinking she'd be turning over in her grave. I mean, I don't think it's a similar situation, but. I don't know. It's scary in a lot of ways because I just can't believe that this is there's this much of a population that's that afraid of the government. And I'm not saying, listen, if you watch The Making of a Murderer on Netflix, if anyone hasn't seen that, I say go watch that because that'll make you question the legal system, the government.
And we're going to get into that a little bit later with our guest because I know that he has some pretty strong opinions about that. But let's talk about Bill Cosby for a second because I think that caught a lot of people off guard.
Oh, God, yeah. Well, that's keeping in line with the legal stuff, too, as well. But, yeah, thank God for this new DA in Pennsylvania who apparently ran his campaign recently. In his campaign ads, he was running the Bill Cosby story because the former DA is the one in 2005 who refused to prosecute. So I guess it really helped this new one to be elected. And now he really has no choice but to go after Bill Cosby, thank God. And I only can think that whatever potential jury pool they have in that community, wouldn't that be a lot of the same people that voted this DA in? So it doesn't look good for Cosby.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, well, first of all, they have a case. They wouldn't have gone after him.
Yeah.
They have a strong case. And the legal experts are saying that they think that they're going to bring in other victims, even though just
that they can testify
absolutely.
Against him.
I think he's going to jail personally.
And it looks like Camille is not going to be deposed.
Oh, she didn't. Cause wasn't that supposed to be today? She got out of it. Or something?
She earned a stay in that. Yeah, so she will not be.
Well, what's interesting is they suspect she may have been providing him with the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't. Did you know? I didn't know she was considered his business manager all these years, apparently, and that's why. Because there is.
Why else would she stay in the marriage? Come on.
Well, I mean, I thought she was just receiving the money. I didn't know she was controlling it. But I guess there is this thing called spousal. You can not have to testify against the spouse,
correct.
But because she was considered a business manager, it puts her into another category. I can't stand his. I can't stand Monique Presley, the black female attorney he has. She's blocked me on Twitter already, but I think she should be ashamed of herself.
Well, it's interesting if you look at that. I mean, they had to suspect this was coming because that whole court, his whole appearance, his whole arraignment was so well orchestrated from a PR standpoint.
From the matching sweaters,
they were wearing matching sweaters. The cane. His vision is not that bad, by the way. It was all an act. It was all.
He needed
an act.
the CNI dog, and it would have been complete.
Exactly. It was. He hasn't used a cane in years.
Yeah, I mean, did you see that? It's such a rural little area. Like the courthouse looked like a barn in the back of someone's house.
Sure did.
There's like a John Deere tractor in a shed, and I mean, I know he has a huge estate that he's had there forever in that little town, but I don't know on Wendy. Well, on Wendy Williams today, and of course she knows everything. She believes that Monique Presley's going to get him off, and he's not going to serve any jail time. But I don't know.
I wouldn't bet on that, but. We'll see. I mean, it's we had one of his
Sharon, yeah.
We had one of his victims on our show, and I think, having sat in the Dateline interview and to have a room full of women who didn't know each other, whose story, it's like there's no way that all these alleged victims,
corroborate their story,
and Besides the fact that we have another friend of the show who worked on the Cosby Show, and
yeah. Well, the
Had our
other
own
thing that
thoughts on
kills
it
me
too,
about
so.
this particular case, the girl, the woman, the coach that is bringing the charges against him, Cosby keeps saying it was consensual. Well, she's a lesbian, first of all, and was in a relationship with her girlfriend at the time he drugged her. So, I mean, his whole thing about it being consensual, I don't know of any lesbian that would want to have sex with a guy but must left his ugly ass. So, pudding pops or not, I don't know. I don't think a Jello or whatever, I don't think that helped his case either. I think that's another reason they could bring charges. It would be a shame. It will be a travesty if he walks somehow and gets out of this,
Well, it's for so many years it was everybody turned the other way, and it's literally he was on his comeback. Basically, he was coming back, and with the new show and the tour and everything special. If he wouldn't have tried to, if he would have just gone away, none of this would be going on.
Well, and also that comedian, who made the joke in South Carolina that night, and remember that's what started the whole
Hannibal
thing.
Buress, I think.
Yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah, I kind of made his career, even though I can't think of his name. But that's how it all kind of got brought back into the forefront. So I'm happy for Gloria Allred, too, because there's still the one case here in California that Gloria has, that there's still some questions on the statute of limitations because the girl was a minor.
The LADA actually just announced a few minutes ago that they're not charging him.
Oh,
it just came out.
So this will be our only hope with this case in Pennsylvania. Yeah.
So
well, okay.
we have a great guest in studio today, so
So speaking of this entire legal situation, I can't think of anyone who's had a more horrific story in terms of being mischarged or whatever. Then we're very happy to welcome today actor, stuntman, professional poker player, Mr. Eric Aude. Hey, buddy, how are you?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good.
Welcome to the show. We're great. We're thankful to have you here, especially in the rain and everything. So, wow, you've been to hell and back with your story, and the good news is you've survived and you're on the other side of it now. But for a lot of people who don't know your story, it began, seemingly innocently. You were working at a gym, and at any point, I'm going to let you tell the story. You can jump in here, but it started with you working at a gym in Burbank and meeting a fellow gym person there that would have people go to Turkey and bring back supposedly leather goods, but that's not quite what was happening. So tell everyone how this started for you and what exactly happened.
I mean, it's it's not a 2-minute story, but
yeah, I know we can
hit
the highlights.
Back when I was 19, I was a personal trainer at the gym, the World Gym in Burbank. One of my clients was a very successful Armenian businessman who said his name was Ray Gazarian, and he was hiring young adults to travel around the world importing expensive leather goods, and he'd pay us for it. I was one of many that was working for this man, and I would be the one to find out what it was we were really being used to do. We were all unknowingly being used as dupes, not mules. Mules know they're being used to smuggle something illegal. Dupes have absolutely no knowledge whatsoever that they're smuggling anything illegal. And I found out a couple years after knowing this man and after working for this man the hard way, I found out that we were being used to smuggle narcotics. I was caught and charged and convicted in Pakistan for possession of 3.6 kg of opium, and I would serve 3 years in there for a crime I didn't commit.
And you were sentenced to 7 years originally, right?
I was sentenced to 7 years. I would have been sentenced to a lot less had I just taken a plea, but I refused to take a plea.
My question was, how could you really? I was reading, thinking, well, how would you even trust if you actually falsely copped to a plea? Would they actually honor that? I wouldn't trust them.
Pakistan is such a corrupt country. If you are guilty, you want to get caught there. You just pay the judge a little bit of money, you pay the prosecutors a little bit of money,
okay.
And you get a small sentence. I mean, it's in America they do the same thing. There's a lot of guys, in my opinion, that are in prison for things they didn't do, who are afraid to face the possible consequences if they can't prove they're innocent. So they'll say, okay, I'll take the 2-year deal rather than possibly face 17 plus years. It happens all the time. People plead no contest because, if they say, hey, if you plead no contest or guilty, this will become a misdemeanor. But if you fight it and you lose, this will become a strike. You'll be serving anywhere from 3 to 5. A lot of people aren't built tough, and they're afraid of losing, even though they know that they're innocent. It sucks. We don't live in a system where you're innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent.
You're guilty until proven innocent. I truly believe that as well. Absolutely. Well, before we get into just how horrific the prison system was, you had made a couple of trips. You had made several trips to Turkey before this, right?
Yes, I went to
this guy.
2 trips to Turkey.
To Turkey, and those were actually leather goods. I mean, it wasn't opium that you just happened to get away with and not knowing about, right?
No, there was absolutely. It was very well. Drug smugglers are smart. If they can get an idiot like me to unknowingly smuggle narcotics for them, they will absolutely do that. They figure I won't draw suspicion to myself because I don't know I'm being used to do anything illegal. They also don't have to pay me what I'm really worth. They're saving a ton of money. I mean, these are trips that someone would make anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000. I'm getting paid $800 to go there, and I'm spending way more on souvenirs and travel and entertainment. For me, it was I'm a young guy who'd never been outside the country. It's the experience. I love to travel. And to do it at someone else's nickel, it's a dream come true. I encouraged this job to everyone I knew, my friends, my family, my mother, my brothers. I would not be doing that had I known that it was anything narcotics related. I would not have been involved. But by the first 2 trips I went on, I absolutely was smuggling something because they just didn't find it.
That's what I was thinking, that they just didn't find it.
It's so professionally hidden. I mean, it's so professionally hidden. It's not. It has nothing to do with the jackets. It's It's built into the suitcases, and there's people who want to believe the worst because they don't like thinking that someone will go through something so horrible and not deserve it. It's easier to swallow that pill that someone went through something so terrible if you believe that they deserved it.
Right.
So, I always get people asking me, "Hey, how did you not know?" Come on, and I'll ask them a simple question: have you ever helped somebody move before? Have you ever, gone through, a girlfriend, a friend, a family member, and they'll be like, "Yeah, I helped them move." Okay, did you go through all their stuff, their boxes? And they're like, "No." How do you know you weren't smuggling drugs? It's so. You don't know, to be honest. Yeah, you want to believe your friends and your family and whatnot. This man that I was working for wasn't just some schmo off the street. He was a guy who I'd created a bond with. I was training him 3 to 4 times a week for several months before I finally decided to go on a trip. Oh, actually, almost a little bit over, almost 9 months. So I knew his family. We were buddies. We were good buddies. And it wasn't just some guy like, hey, here's a cool trip. No, I trusted this man. I considered him a close friend. And
also the fact that you had already made these other trips and they were fine. But then the irony
this is before I made my first trip.
Oh, even before your first one.
Yeah, we were best friends. We were really good friends before I made my first trip for the guy. I was saying I knew him for almost 9 months before I made my first trip for the man. So I didn't just meet the guy. I knew him.
Yeah. Well, ironically too, your brother was originally going to do this trip to Pakistan, right?
Well, my brother was originally supposed to do a trip to Turkey. And then 10 days before he was supposed to go, he calls me and says, I'm not going. I'm like, why are you not going? He goes, it's not to Turkey. It's to Pakistan. I go, that's a mistake. I can't vouch for Pakistan. I've never been there, but I can vouch for Turkey. I'd been there a couple times. So I contact Ray to see what's going on. He says, look, because of the war that we're having in Afghanistan, this is right after 9/11, by the way. He says, I'm getting a really good deal on leather goods in Pakistan, and they're really hooking it up. It's just we're going to go there and see. I said, well, my brother's not going. He's like, you got to convince him. I've already set up everything. I'm going to lose a lot of money. I can't vouch for for Pakistan because I've never been there. I can't tell anyone, hey, it's a great place. I didn't have the time to do it, but I also didn't want to let my friend down. And he says, I felt bad that I vouched for my brother. My brother's backing out, but also couldn't justify my brother going because it was in Pakistan, and that,
right.
So I made the trip. I didn't want to leave my friend hanging, so I made the trip in place of my brother, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad it was me. I'm glad I'm the one who found out.
I could see that too. Yeah. Ultimately, if it had to go down that way, you'd rather be you than your brother.
Absolutely. If something bad's gonna happen and if something bad's going to happen because of my recommendation, I want it to happen to me and not somebody else because of me.
Right. Well, the horrific part began. So once you were detained, and arrested, and you were sent to jail there. And I mean, first of all, this is like a movie itself, and I don't know if you've had movie rights mentioned about this, or if that's in the works.
I had Robert Chardoff. He optioned my rights, and
okay.
And he died earlier. He died June of last year.
Well, you're writing a book as well, correct?
I'm writing a book. I finally, I finally decided to I wish I did it a long time ago. I went looking around for ghostwriters. I never felt I could write. And then a friend of mine who I stunt doubled for a movie, he really talked me into it. The guy, I don't know if you know Craig Shea. Craig Sheffer. He's like Eric, you need to write this fucking story, man. And he started talking me into it, and he's like, "Look, just write 5 pages, send them to me. I'll tell you what I think." And I just kept writing. He's like, "Dude, just keep writing." Next thing I know, I'm up to 240 pages.
Yeah,
well, it's
because
definitely a story that needs to be told, and I think that there's a lot of error that need to be cleared about your story. So
there's a lot of what that needs.
The error, just to clear the error. There's a lot of people make misperceptions and assumptions.
Yeah, like I said before, everyone wants to assume like, oh, Eric's a drug smuggler, and then see, this is the worst part. I went to Pakistan for a bad thing, and then but not only did I go there for something I didn't do, I got people saying, well, you're a liar on top of it. If I did it, I'd give a shit if everyone thought I was a drug smuggler. I did a bad thing, guys. I don't care. I screwed up. I'm not even going to apologize for it. I learned my lesson and won't do that again. But no, I didn't do this. I had everything going for me. I was reoccurring on 4 TV shows at the time. I had just bought my first house. I was happy. I had everything going for me. I had everything to lose and nothing to gain. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I don't drink.
And as you were saying, your career was taken off. I mean,
no, it was. It was always down to me and the other 5. I was in the same room with Ashton Kutcher when up for the same 5 for the role of Kelso. I was in the same room with Josh Hartnett for the role of I think Luke or Lux in the movie Virgin Suicides. And I was in the. It came down to me, Sean Scott, and 2 others for Stifler, and it was I was always right there at the edge. I was always going to the room for network, and it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. I was booking shows, I was getting the recurring, the guest stars, and
of course a lot of people know you from Seventh Heaven, Dude, Where's Your Car?
Well, those
American
are like
Sniper,
those are role like small roles. In American Sniper, I got the I did all my own stunts. I got to work out there for 18 days, and it's my second movie back since I've been in Pakistan with Clint Eastwood. I worked on Flags of Our Fathers with him.
Oh, cool.
And when I came back, though, everything changed. It wasn't everything was reality TV.
So let me ask you. So you were released to what in 2004?
I was released December 23rd, 2004. I was about to turn 25. I went in at 21, and I got out about to turn 25.
And I think I think we'll save some of we'll let the book talk about the conditions you went through in the prison, because I think that's something you may want to save for your book or the movie. But I'm curious. I want to talk about. So when you came out in 2004, you kind of just mentioned that you were you felt like there were people who, not everyone believed your story, right? You had some people that were naysayers, and they thought maybe you actually knew what was going on.
There's a lot of ignorant people out there who like to believe what they want to believe. They're like I said, they'd rather assume the worst about you than give you credit for anything. But I've never had someone come up to me in my face and say, "Hey, you're a liar." I've never had, which is over the internet. Everyone's 7 foot tall. But up close, people are very courteous. Actually, I don't understand that.
Well, I guess what I'm saying is, did you feel that it had did it hurt your career at all when you were trying to come back and start out again, or pick it back up again?
Not that I know of. Like I said, when I got back, everything was reality TV. So Hollywood had taken a hit. Also, I was a lot older. I was about to turn 25, and no one really wants you when you're 25.
Oh God!
Old man by then, right?
Pretty much. But I had people giving me roles from old relationships, and I was always booking the little things here and there, and I just I never gave up. I stuck around the business, and I'm not really qualified to do too much other than this. I don't understand engineering or anything.
Well, but one thing you got really qualified at is when you were in jail, in prison, you started playing poker.
Yeah, poker,
which is that's such a great part of the book, anyway. But tell us how. So you started playing poker and doing really, really well. And weren't you called the king of the prison at one time, or there was something?
I don't know who called me the king of the prison, but the hijackers did say that they were calling me the blue-eyed prince, even though my eyes aren't blue. But that was after literally like a year and a half of being in jail and just taking so much crap. The first place I ever picked up a hand of poker or played a hand of Texas Hold'em poker was on death row. I was originally on death row for 9.5 months, and when I was on death row, we'd play poker. Me and like 3 or 4 other guys who were also on death row. We just play poker.
And were you in solitary confinement for your?
I was. Well, solitary confinement you think is just your own room. All right, I had my own room, but I would still be allowed out into a little area that had 2 other rooms on it, and those rooms had men in it. And these were the more. Even though they were on death row too, these they didn't think that these guys would do anything. Everyone was a lot smaller than me there, and these guys weren't. Considered hostile prisoners. They were considered educated prisoners. They had money, so they could buy more privileges.
Okay.
I couldn't be in the barracks. The barracks had hundreds of people. They had the foreigner barrack, which had a couple hundred Nigerians in there, and I'm glad I wasn't in there. Those guys, there's no beds. You sleep shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, and people just fight you and steal from you. I had my own room, so I was lucky in that sense.
Do you think being American helped or hurt? Did it help?
It helped me. It helped me, and it hurt me. It helped me that I was had to be kept isolated because they knew that there was a target on my head. Someone put a 5,000 rupee bounty on me in prison, which is only at the time $87. So that's what my life's worth in Pakistan.
Were there other Americans in the prison?
No other Americans. I was the only American that was there at the time.
Wow.
There were a lot of Westerners though. There was French guy, 3 Germans. There were South Africans. There was a Canadian for some time. There was a couple of English guys, and there was an Australian. But no, I mean it wasn't too many. There's just a handful.
Did you think that you were going to get out alive, or did you think that that's where you?
I never gave up hope. If you give up hope, then I never gave up hope because I was like, how could this be happening? Too many people knew what I was doing. Too many people knew I was working for my friend. It wasn't just my word against. Oh, there was several people. My mother was back here trying to organize rallies, and unfortunately, her being involved really hurt me because the people back here weren't looking for ways to help her get me out. They were looking for ways to suck money out of her and to capitalize on the situation. She was emptying somehow she got a hold of all my bank accounts, and she's emptied all my money. When I was gone, I made over $60,000 just on residual checks and spent all that, but she was giving it to all these hustlers and scammers because she thought it would help me. And no lawyer wanted to deal with me in Pakistan. They wanted to deal with my family. If they're dealing with you in jail, they know that you only have a small source of resources available to you. But if they're dealing with a family member, the sky's the limit. So lawyers were constantly trying to approach my mother, who was on the other side of the planet, and just demanding money out of her. And finally, I had to just say, Mom, I can't have you involved. You're being involved is hurting me. And I had to tell the embassy to not give her any information on which lawyer I'm going for. Or anything about my case. So by cutting my mother off, she cut me off. She stopped sending me money, which I desperately needed to buy things in jail, food, or bribe the right guards, and just or even work on my case. And that's why I had to really turn to poker in prison, because that was my hustle in jail, was making money off playing poker, running poker tournaments in jail, because my mother cut me off. And her lawyer actually ended up withdrawing his appeal. Because I refused to pay him $25,000. This is a $400 case for any other person, but because I'm an American, he's dealing with my mother. He says, all right, I'm going to only charge you $25,000 for the appeal. And then when I found this out, that's why I'm like, Mom, you can't be a part of this case anymore. Fired the lawyer, said, hey, I can't afford this. I'm going to find other legal representation. You take care. God bless. And instead of him just leaving it and me finding another lawyer, this guy went to the high court and says, my client's happy with his 7-year prison sentence. I withdraw my appeal, costing me my one chance in high court. There's so much to it. It's not. It's just going to confuse people.
Yeah. No. And how's your relationship now with your family or your mom?
The sad thing is when I first got back, no one would help me. When I got back, my mom was at the airport and everything, but I wanted to get my life back together. My mom thought I'm 20. I'm about to turn 25. I'm 24. I get back to the house, and my mom thinks I'm gonna just be a little kid again. I'm not. First off, I'm a grown man. I'm 24. I was in jail for 3 years. I'm not gonna be in prison anymore. Wouldn't give me the keys to my Chevy. I had a 56 Chevy. She's like, well, you don't have insurance. You don't have registration. And I was like, I don't care. Give me the keys to my car. I'm a grown man. I'll make my own decisions. She wouldn't help me out. And I found out all my accounts were empty. I had no idea all my accounts were empty. I mean, When I left, I had, I had maybe only 15,000 in my accounts, but that's still money to get back. Somehow I was 17,000 in debt. I don't know how that happened. She wouldn't give me the keys to my own car. So the person that helped me out was my football coach. My football coach comes over to me. He has a huge family, but he only had one car. He drives it over to my house literally 2 days after I've been back. He says, come on, take me to school. So I drive him to school, and he goes, I go, what do you want? I said, when do you want me to pick you up? He goes, go get your life together. I'll find my way home. So I took the car down to L.A. I was talking to friends, had meetings set up already. People who had relationships with back in the day wanted to reconnect with me and see what they could do. One of my friends was a stunt coordinator. He says, hey, what can I do to help you? And I go, dude, I just want to work. He goes, you ready to work already? I go, yes, I just need to work. I need to make some money. He says, well, I got 3 days for you on War of the Worlds. So you want that? I said, yes, absolutely. Another friend of mine who I worked on the movie Scorpion King with, he was one of the Rock's body doubles for some scenes. Guy named Simo, huge guy. He takes me to lunch, buys me lunch, and then on the way out, when I was saying goodbye, he puts $100 in my pocket. I didn't ask for anything. I didn't want anything because but he's such a big man. He forced me in the car because he knew I didn't want to take the money, but I needed it. And when I went to work on my first day of War of the Worlds, I mean, we filmed all night. And when I was trying to drive back on the 405 freeway, it's just bumper to bumper traffic. I see a sign for Hollywood Park Casino. One thing I was great at in jail, and that's how I made my living, was playing poker. And when you're playing against guys who are starving, and the top prize is food and yogurt and chickens, you got some guys who are playing their asses off. They're not being stupid or whatnot, because if they lose, it means them not eating. So they want to win just so they can eat. So I played against some crazy good poker players in Pakistan. And when I went to the Hollywood Park Casino, I said, all right, I'm going to see what I can do with $50. That's it. I'm going to keep 50 for like gas and everything. This is all the money I have in the world that my friend gave me. I went and sat at the 40 no limit table, quickly moved over to the 1-300 table, left the next morning to go straight back to work with $2,600 in my pocket. Slept all day on set, went back to the casino, turned 300 into another 1,700. Went back to set, did the same thing the next day. Had a car by the end of the week. Had my own place by a couple days after that. And when I went back to give my coach back his car and get whatever little things I had back at my house, my mom was like, I rented your room out, and you're disrespectful, and you're not allowed to stay here. And I'm like, I already got my own place, lady. Take it easy. And I was out. But that's literally how it was. None of my family helped me out, and to this day, it's fine. I'm glad that's the way it was, because it's kind of always been that way. I'm the youngest of 6 boys. I never had a good following. I never had a close relationship. I'm the only one to grow up with my mother. All my brothers grew up with their dads because, my mother was a handful. She, what people today called child abuse, my mom would call it tough love. I was a punching bag, and I thought that's how it was growing up. But it made me the way I am, which is what you need. If in a sixth sense, my mother actually prepared me for jail. And
wow.
And when I got back, her not helping me is good, because I owe no one anything. Everything I have to this day, other than my coach who gave me his car to borrow, and my friend Simo who gave me $100, those are the only 2 life rafts I got when I first got back.
Wow.
Well, guys, let's take our first break. That's a great point there to break, because when we come back, I want to talk about where your life is today and what's happening with the career, and we can also update people to what happened to the original guy that who duped you to take the quote leather goods to start with, because in the end he sort of got his also. So let's take our first break, and when we come back, we'll continue with Eric Aude and Dominic and JW. You're listening to One on One with Jasper Cole. We'll be right back.
You're back. One on One with Jasper Cole.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Welcome back to today's show. We're joined in studio here with J.W. Williams, Dominic Friesen, and our special guest, actor, poker player, also restaurant entrepreneur, Mr. Eric Aude. Welcome back, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Everyone, how are you?
We're good. We're back.
Okay, great.
I didn't know if you heard us.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fine. So Eric, I wanted to pick up the story. But tell us how eventually, who got involved to help you get released? Was it the American government?
I'm going to tell you something. This is sad but true. If you ever get arrested in another country, don't waste your one phone call in the U.S. Embassy. They're absolutely useless. They said that had this been a passport violation or a murder case, then they would get involved. And I was like, hey, pick a guy. take him out right now. Anything narcotics related, they are absolutely strict on not getting involved. And they knew it was a travesty. 6 months after I was arrested, we had my mother had private investigators looking for the man that had set me up, and we couldn't find him, or they couldn't find him because we were looking for a man named Ray Gazarian. I'd known this man for years as Ray Gazarian, but it turned out his real name was Razmik Manassian. He had lied to me from the start about his name and just kept a very, very elaborate, convincing lie for forever. A Swedish woman who was working for the man was traveling from Sweden, lost her luggage at JFK Airport, but she continued on her itinerary to LAX. They found in the walls of her suitcase professionally hidden opium, so they set up a sting to return the luggage to her. But they wanted to wait for the guy that she was working for. So they delivered the luggage to her in a hotel in Glendale, and they arrested her and Ray Gazarian, except he posted bail under the name Razmik Manassian. My mother's investigator was able to alert the authorities that this is the same schmuck that set Eric up, and it was under a different name. So now that they knew he had a different name, they were like, whoa, he's got different aliases. They rearrested him, denied him bail. They released the Swedish girl back to her country without being charged in less than 2 weeks. So at least by my being in jail, she wasn't. And because our stories matched, she didn't have... It made me feel. They believed the story. It made me feel good that my being in jail helped somebody else, and that felt great. So when the DEA came to talk to me, I'm on death row. It's October now of 2002, and the DEA comes to me and they're speaking to me, and they're telling me the story. And now they're not making fun of me. Before, the DEA was making fun of me, like, "Hey, maybe next time you'll pack a little lighter," you know. But now they believe me, and the guy's telling me that they caught the real guy. I'm like, perfect. Sorry, so what's happening now? How do I get out of here? The guy just shakes his head. He says, if this had happened in America, you'd be going home tonight. I said, so what does that mean? It means you have to go through their legal system. I said, I'm on death row. I'm facing a death sentence here. And you guys are telling me that you can't get involved? He's like, we can't get involved because it's narcotics related. Absolutely. And the guy was just looking in disbelief, though. And I was like, why are you in shock? He's like, because I've never seen this before. I go, what? He goes, I've never met anyone innocent before. And I was like, wow. Fuck. So I'm in jail for some shit that they know I didn't do. And it's not that we can't help you. It's that we won't help you. They could absolutely do something, but they don't get involved if it's narcotics related, which is that's the worst feeling.
I was also reading that it says it's not a party to the U.S. Prison Transfer Treaty Program. Pakistan is not a party to that. Do you know what that is? The Prison Transfer Treaty Program?
Well, I know what a party is, you know.
Extradition.
Okay, so it's extradition.
Yeah.
They're not. Well, Pakistan is so. I'm sorry. The country's so corrupt anyway. I don't mean to paint. I'm not saying that all the people there are, but the government. It's like the government of Mexico.
I'll say it. All the people there are corrupt. Absolutely.
Well, there
corrupt.
we go.
You know who was in jail with me? It was Yusuf Razan Jalani. He became the prime minister in Pakistan after he was in jail with me. We also had the future president of Pakistan in jail with me, Benazir Bhutto's husband. I wasn't that good of friends with him, but I was really good friends with Jalani. And this is the country that is. The guys who ran the country were in jail with me.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, so I guess my question is, so when just going back to the guy who started the whole thing, what's his name? His real name?
Razmik Manassian, which is
when you first were arrested. Were they not investigating him then, trying to figure out?
They were looking for Ray Gazarian. So he
was using this other name.
Yeah, they were looking for Ray Gazarian. Then once they found him, he got arrested. What was charged with the Swedish woman? He wasn't even the big guy in the totem pole. He ratted out everyone above him. I don't know how that man is still alive, because his information led to one of the biggest drug busts in Glendale history, with 18 Armenian men getting convicted of a big opium den. I mean, you can look that up. I think that had to have been around the same time that he got arrested, or shortly after October 2002. But he was ratting out so many people. He was cutting deals left and right. He only served 4.5 years in jail for his involvement in drug smuggling. He was never punished for what he did to me. When I got back, I won a civil suit against him for $20.4 million. Razmik Manassian, unfortunately, is like a John Smith in Armenia, so they weren't able to find the right guy. Also, what didn't help is about a month before I got my verdict, my lawyer died. Once she died, a lackey came and finished the case. We won $20.4 million, but the law firm disbanded, so they had no desire to go after funds and everything, and I once again was just left unlucky. The guy,
Oh my God.
just unlucky. The guy owes me over $20 million, and I'll never collect a penny of it.
Yeah, it says that he got out in 2007. So where is he? Is he in Glendale again? Or
I haven't. I
He
don't.
would have been deported. I'm
No,
sure.
no. He's It's great. Right after I did the show Locked Up Abroad, I found a piece of shit on Facebook of all places. It just pissed me off. So I made a fake account so that I could track the guy down. A guy lured him to a shopping center in Northridge and off of Devonshire and Reseda there, and he thought he was meeting up with a cute, decent girl for coffee drinks. Hook, line, and sinker. My goal was to find out where he lived so that I could tell. Whatever law firm was going after him at the time, so we can start trying to get money out of the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was driving around. Traffic was terrible that day, and I lost him. And the thing that sucked about losing him, I was like, "Fuck, I'm not gonna get another opportunity here." So I texted him, and I got his number only when he accepted the friend request of the girl because it showed more information.
Mm-hmm.
It showed an email address, a cell phone number. I texted the guy. I said, "Sorry, I'm late. Daylight savings. It was daylight savings. That's right. I said daylight savings. I'll be there shortly." The phone rings. I can't let it go to voicemail because it says my name and voicemail. He'll know. And I was like, this is my only opportunity to get the guy. So I pick up the phone, and I'm like, girlish voice is possible. It's terrible. I don't know how it worked, but it worked. I said, I'm sorry that I'll be there late. I was running late. I'll be there shortly. And then he's on the other line going, yeah, what's going on? I'm sorry. I overslept. I'm on my way there. Okay, I'll see you soon. I hang up, and I'm like, it's not going to work. This dude's not going to show up now. He knows that's not a chick. But he showed up, and the second he showed up, I said, fuck it. This is my only chance. So I started beating his ass in the parking lot.
good.
I know. I fucked that guy up, and the thing about it that sucked because everyone that was in the parking lot was scared. Some like Asian lady was like, "I'm calling the cops," and I'm like, "Mind your own business, lady." And some other guys were like, "Hey, you need help?" I'm like, "This is between us." So here's Ray begging me. He's like, "Eric, look, I swear to God, I didn't know. I was innocent too." And I was like, "Bullshit." And I just wanted to pick my shots. I told him, if you run, I'm gonna fuck you up. And he starts telling me on his daughter's life that he was set up too. He didn't know, and I was like, "Oh, huh?" So what about that Swedish girl 6 months later? And he's like, that's when I learned. I'm like, well, then why did you tell me your name was Ray Gazarian and not Raz McManassian? And he looks down because he forgot his line. He goes, I never told you that. So I was punching this. I was so pissed off at this dude. I was just beating the crap out of him. A couple cops come, but he's on the ground. They can't see him. And I was like, I'll see you later, Ray. I was so pissed. I wanted to know where he lived, but I couldn't get anything out of him. But it was just, rage took over me. I couldn't control myself. So I leave. About a month later, I get a call from the detective agency in Northridge, and they said, "Hey, we want you to come in and fill out a statement so we can clear your name." And I'm like, the greatest thing about going to jail is you know the law a lot better now. And I was reading, Idiot Guide to the Law, and thank God you never talk to the cops, but. I told the cops to fuck off, and I wasn't going to answer any questions because, I was like, you guys got to earn this arrest. I'm not going back to jail for this asshole. And I got a lawyer from one of my poker buddies, and the lawyer's like, what'd you tell the cops? I said, I told them to fuck off. He's like, all right, well, that's good, but I don't recommend any, I'm glad you didn't talk to them at least. Mm-hmm. So he goes and talks to the cops on my behalf, and this is what Ray said. Razmik went to them and told them that some crazy white guy claims I put him in jail in Pakistan. He's out of his mind. He's assaulting me. He's stalking me. And my lawyer says, well, did he tell you that there's a civil suit against him? And the cops were like, no, he failed to mention that. So they showed him the civil suit, and the cops were like, $20 million? What did this guy do? And they're like, well, there's a lot more to this story. You should hear it. So the cops brought me in. Now I'm like, I don't want to go in and talk to the cops. But my lawyer's like, trust me, these cops want to meet you. So I go and I talk to the cops, and the cops are like, they listen to the whole story. And it's not, it's a very rushed 1.5 hour, 2 hour story. And one of the cops finally goes, Jesus Christ, and you didn't kill this guy? I was like, nope. And he was like, all right, we got you luring the guy there. We got you assaulting him. We got witnesses. He goes, that's like 12 to 15 years right there, but it sounds like a little street corner justice. Never do it again. I was like,
oh, God.
All right.
Thank God.
And
yeah.
I was like, wow, this guy put me on death row, put me in jail for 3 years, and then tried to put me in jail again. I mean, all I did was beat him up a little bit, like nothing crazy. Well, nothing crazy, and he tried to do it again. He deserves so much more.
And he owes you millions of dollars.
So how is your faith in the justice system now?
It's terrible. I like. It's funny you brought up Making a Murderer earlier. My girl and I, we binge watched the hell out of it, and it just made me mad. You can't watch it all straight through because you just get so upset when you watch that guy. I 100% know Stephen Avery and his nephew are innocent. His nephew's an idiot, but I could have convinced that nephew that he had seen a dinosaur. Right? You could. He's very. I don't believe the average person has common sense. Very impressionable. Hey, man, when did you see Santa Claus? Is he your best friend? Yeah, we're pen pals. No, Santa Claus doesn't. That guy. So if I think my luck is terrible, that guy's luck is terrible. 18 years for something he didn't do, and now he's in jail for the rest of his life for something else he did not do. It's ridiculous. And
he spent all the money, the $400,000 he got. He had to spend it all on
those lawyers
for the second case.
No, he only settled so that he would have a fighting chance. Those lawyers were great. They fought for him. They cared for him. They fought for him. They could have done a lot of things different. I mean, I wish I had been a lawyer in that man's case. I absolutely do. Here's something about my story you guys won't know. I had to become my own lawyer to get out. You asked me if the American government helped me get out? No, I became a lawyer in Pakistan under a different language, and I got myself out. And while I was getting myself out, I got 7 other people out of jail.
Wow.
But the way you got to look at it, I would say, okay, you guys are looking at this man for murder, but he's got $36 million to look forward to. He's got every camera looking at him. He's got a police department that's going to be owing him $36 million and facing possible jail time if they have to pay this man that $36 million. Obviously, there's a lot of wrongdoing. Who has motive here? Not him. He's got every reason to stay out of trouble. The police department 100% has motive here.
Absolutely.
100% has motive here. And that's exactly what I would have focused on. I would have been like, there's no DNA on the key. There's his DNA. Oh, coincidentally, there's none of hers? How is that?
Well, my question too: where is her body?
Her body was scattered little pieces here and there, but they're claiming that he got that he took the body and put it in the house, and then from the house took it back to the garage. Bottom line, there'd be blood everywhere. Absolutely.
Oh, totally.
And
what I'm trying to figure out is he didn't do it, so I'm wondering which of the corrupt cops killed her. Somebody had to kill her.
You remember the cop that had run the license plate early on?
Right.
That ran the license plate, and then he first ran the license plate, and then he described the vehicle, and then he even said, "Oh, I believe she described the vehicle to me." And then they replayed it, and it was him describing the vehicle. Okay, as a poker player, the best part about being a poker player and an actor is everyone at the table acts. You can read people like a damn book. You can absolutely read people, and that's why I make so much damn money when I play poker, is because I can read everyone at the damn table. You know when they're acting. You know when they're trying to act strong or when they're trying to act weak. That motherfucker cop was acting absolutely surprising. Like, he was a terrible actor. You saw if you watch the video, you'll see his neck just start going crazy. That's his heartbeat because he can't control his emotions. Okay, but here's the biggest thing too. It wasn't just the key and like having DNA. Remember when they said that they found blood from her head that matched her DNA in the back of her own car? So why would he kill her, put her back in her car, and then, which is out supposedly in his front driveway, when he takes her to the garage and then burns her behind the house? You're not going to do that. It's bullshit. No. It all works against them. The cops found a situation they're looking at $36 million, and they're looking at jail time. They were looking at jail time by paying the $400,000. They admitted no wrongdoing, and by admitting no wrongdoing, they can't be held accountable whatsoever. So, what did I tell you when I went to jail? What was my life worth? $87. People try to kill me for $87. If people could kill me to save $36 million, the other countries would start pitching in.
Well, do you think now the documentary is going to really reopen the case again? Do you think
it absolutely better, because that's like telling it absolutely better, because if these guys absolutely not only did this to them, to Avery. Avery's not an isolated incident. I guarantee these guys have planted evidence in countless other cases. Because they're the authorities they're humans, and they're greedy, and they do bad things, and if they can get away with stuff, why not? They hated this guy for their own reasons, for everything. He was no angel, but he's no murderer either. He wasn't a rapist, but he's no murderer, and it doesn't mean he's a murderer either. He's a white trash guy with a very low IQ that was an easy target. And these guys wanted to go out of the way to not only hurt him, but hurt everyone around him. How dare this guy make our lives the way it is? And we have the authority to frame. If someone hates you, especially someone in law enforcement, they can absolutely set you up for some shit. Don't. The bottom line, the moral of the story here is don't piss off people in authority.
No, and when you watch those deposition tapes when they were being investigated by the state attorney general's office, who turned around and did nothing anyway, but it was so funny to watch when they were just caught in lies and they couldn't get out of them. But it didn't matter because the attorney general didn't prosecute them anyway. So there's another example where even the attorney general's office wasn't going to do anything about it. They all protect each other.
They all protect each other. And what's sick is you guys heard recently that the two the people who produced that came out and said that jurors had contacted them and said, "Look,
They're in fear of their lives."
Correct. We're in fear of our lives because that's how the cops are there. They went after his. They went after his family. They went after his girlfriend. They kept putting her in jail. Now you can't talk to him anymore because they knew that they didn't want him to be happy in any way whatsoever. And it's sad. I feel terrible for that guy. What I went through is Skittles compared to what he's going through.
It's their Rampart scandal, basically.
I think it's it's way worse.
Way worse.
I think you can get away with a lot, especially in a small town. And especially in a small town, you can get away with a lot.
Well, that's why they kept saying in some ways he would have been better off to just get the fuck out of there and leave that town. But
he was sticking around for the money that he was going to be guaranteed, and and to see justice, justice. Like that cop kept him in jail 8 years longer when they had the other guy saying, "Hey, I raped her."
Right. Well, listen, buddy, where can people find you on social media? Do you want them to find you?
I mean, if they want to, I'm not that exciting. I'm on Twitter at Eric Aude, Eric with a K, and then I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and my girl and I, we just live life. I wanted to talk about my rest. If you guys want to come and I got a couple of restaurants in Hollywood. Got 4 big wings. I got Stout. Got a really good burger at Tipsy Cow in Sherman Oaks. Come check it out and support. You'll enjoy it, I promise. And bottom line, be happy. It could always be worse. Whenever I have a bad day, I think of Stephen Avery now. That guy has it so much worse than I had it. And we're all lucky in our own way if we just realize how bad it could possibly be.
We are definitely a survivor.
Yeah, thank you. And like I said, I think I can't wait for your book to come out, and hopefully from the book it'll be a movie, because there's so much that we didn't get into about your time in prison and all the other things that hopefully you're going to cover in the book.
I'm working on it, but thank you very much. I look forward to getting it out and hearing your opinion on it.
All right. Well, thank you, guys. Listen, the show goes by so fast. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in to another show. JW, Dominic, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
And we will be back next Wednesday, same place, same time. You've been listening to One-on-One with Jasper Cole. Peace out. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for checking out One-on-One with Jasper Cole. Check out past episodes and get the latest as they're released. Subscribe today on iTunes, Stitcher, and YouTube.